Greetings from the CM Russell Museum. I'm Executive Director Tom Figarelle, and welcome to another installment of the 2020 Art in Action Artist Showcase. As you know, given the constraints and impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, we're unable to host our annual Russell exhibition and sale, and within that, a component called Art in Action. Many of you might be familiar with Art in Action. It's a variation of a traditional quick draw or quick finish where artists have several hours to finish a piece while interacting with guests. To try to recreate that interaction as best we can in a virtual environment, we're hosting these artist showcases, an opportunity for you to hear directly from the artists about what they're working on, how they're doing, and their creative process. We are always sponsored by D.A. Davidson Companies, who have supported Art in Action, particularly for 2020, and have supported all of our educational programming here at the CM Russell Museum, helping us advance the art and soul of the American West. We're joined today by artist Bruce Pierce. Bruce, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, excellent. It looks like you have a wonderful setting joining us, I'm assuming from your studio, is that right?
That's correct.
Excellent.
It's a loft studio. It was always my dream to have a studio like Charlie Russell, so here we are.
Perfect. I think that he would really appreciate it. Well, you know, given the pandemic and everything we're dealing with in our world, Bruce, how are you doing?
Well, I guess I've been practicing social distancing for years being an artist, but yeah, I've enjoyed my painting time, but at the same time, a person feels a little bit unsettled just with your family and with making contact with others. It kind of disrupted things, all right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. No, I think you're correct. There's some of us that have led maybe a little bit more of a quiet life from time to time. So the solitude can energize us, not necessarily startle us too much. But, you know, I'm sure that that's helped with your art. Have you found yourself been able to focus on new elements of your creative?
Well, when I get into my studio here, I can create the atmosphere that inspires creativity. So in that sense, I can pretty well zone in anytime, but there's still that feeling of being unsettled at times.
Certainly, certainly. I think we can all appreciate that. You know, one of the hallmarks, obviously, with Art in Action is that dialogue and that interaction with patrons as you are producing or finishing a work of art. Certainly a unique experience, very different than what you would have in the atmosphere of your studio. Can you speak to why an Art in Action style event or a quick draw, quick finish, why that kind of draws you, why you like to participate in those styles of events?
Well, I even though I work so much alone, I do enjoy interacting with people, and as artists, we don't often get that opportunity. And I guess I love to watch other artists work just because there's kind of a magic in how people approach their artwork. And to non-artists, it maybe seems even more magic to watch an artist work. So I've always enjoyed the opportunity to explain to people my thought process and just giving them an opportunity to see what I so enjoy in putting paint on canvas and working out problems and trying to bring forth an idea and trying to express emotion with my brush. And so it's a great opportunity to communicate with people and share the process, and more than just the painting and what it communicates, give kind of the artist perspective behind the scenes. So that's one thing I've always enjoyed about the Art in Action.
Well, that's fascinating when you talk about seeing what other artists are doing and how they're producing work. I've never really thought about it in terms of an artist to artist interaction, but you're very accurate to point that out. I know just in observing the event and being there for a few years, you do see artists coming together and talking about their respective works of art. And that is a very special element to Art in Action as well. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Specific to process, you're talking about creative process. Can you share with the viewers on how you take an idea and bring it to life on your canvas?
Well, the painting that I'm working on here is depicting Charlie Russell standing on the hill that he put into the scene that he put into the painting when the land belonged to God. And what I'm trying to depict is really how I begin the process, is being out in nature and maybe seeing a beautiful scene and standing there like I depict Charlie Russell doing in this scene, and imagining what could be in the scene, or imagining how to recreate it in a way that you can share with others the beauty of what you're seeing. And so for me, that's the beginning of the process, is to just actually be out either with my camera or with my paint, painting outdoors and seeking inspiration. And then when I come back to the studio, I have that either photographs or little field studies that can further inform my art process when I'm in the studio. And then in recent years, I discovered Photoshop, and so now I do a lot of work with Photoshop, trying to create compositions and trying to add and take away things. And so I really enjoy that process with Photoshop. And then when you come to a design that really hits you, well, then the real pleasure begins of putting paint on canvas and trying to bring that creative idea to life.
So that's interesting. You very much then value getting out in and amongst the wildlife and the landscape that you're trying to capture in your art. You try to experience it firsthand. Is that right?
That's correct. And in the fall, we usually go out and spend quite a bit of time. And that is really where most of my ideas come together. And I used to do more painting on location, but having a nice studio has kind of made me lazy, where I enjoy being in the studio. But I've probably grown the most when I actually work outdoors on location. And so really that is one of the key parts of the creative process, is actually being outdoors.
Well, and we won't call it lazy. We'll call your studio your incubation. That's where you're growing your idea. So I like that. I think that's good. Well, I have to credit you. The piece over your shoulder is fantastic. You can absolutely get a sense of Charlie being there and beginning his process to paint when the land belonged to God. I mean, that is just a tremendous effort. So congratulations on a wonderful piece there.
Thank you.
Well, Bruce, we appreciate you joining us. We most of all appreciate your participation in Art in Action. Hopefully we at the museum, as well as all of our patrons, will have a chance to see you in person in 2021. Let's keep our fingers crossed that that's able to occur. But we just do appreciate your friendship to the C.M. Russell Museum.
Well, thank you. And I hope for everyone that we can all be there in person next year.
Indeed, indeed. We once again want to thank D.A. Davidson Companies for their support of Art in Action and to the educational programming at the C.M. Russell Museum. And all of our artists that participate in Art in Action are sponsored by various individuals and companies. Star Radio here in Great Falls has graciously sponsored Bruce Pierce, so we want to thank our folks at Star Radio. And thank all of you for plugging in. Continue to watch these installments of the Art in Action Artist Showcase. And remember, the C.M. Russell art exhibition and sale, that is coming up on September 12th. Please keep watching our social media as well as your email for more information. So thank you again, Bruce, and thank you all. We're out here.
Thank you, and all the best to everyone.